Hello, pupils. How are you all? Hope you're all good and healthy. You're all welcome to another virtual class. Yes, today we are going to be doing justice to a subject known as English language. Before we move to the topic for today, I'd like us to quickly do something before we move to the new topic, which is discussing one or two things about our last topic. Yes, in the last class, we treated homonyms and homophones. Is that all right? Good. Now, during that session, we explained what homonyms is all about and what homophone is about. Likewise, is that also? Now, we actually said homonyms are words with the same sound and probably the same spelling, but what? But with different meanings, isn't it? Likewise, we said homophones are words with the same sound, different spelling, and different meaning. What this implies is that homophones are words that have the same sound with different spelling and different meaning. And we also discussed that the main difference between homonyms and homophone is that while homonyms are words with the same sound and the same spelling, homophones, on the other hand, are words with the same sound but with different spelling and different meaning, which means homonym is a bit higher than homophones. Homonyms is having the words to be the same sound and the same spelling, but just with different meaning, whereas homophones are words with the same sound but different spelling and different meaning. Good. Now, on that note, we are going to be moving to what we're having today, which is the topic we are to tackle this morning. Now, the topic says forms of do and have. Again, forms of do and have. Good. Now, let's quickly go to the objectives of our lesson. Objectives of our lesson says, at the end of the lesson, the pupils should be able to, 1, identify the primary auxiliary verbs. That's the first one. The second one says, use the primary auxiliary verbs correctly to form sentence. The last but not the least, use the form of do and have correctly in present and past tense. Is that taken? These are what we are going to be looking at during the course of our lesson. Is that understood? Good. Now, let's move to the subject matter, which is do and have. Now, do and have are primary auxiliary verbs used to give information about a person or thing. Again, I repeat, do and have are primary auxiliary verbs used to give information about a person or thing. That is a simple definition of what do and have is all about. Now, they say do and have are primary auxiliary verbs. Primary auxiliary verbs used to what? Used to give information about a person or thing. But before we move further, I would like to quickly tell us this. Do and have are not the only auxiliary verbs we have. They are not the only primary auxiliary verbs we have. We also have be. We have do, we have we have be. But to make our class a much more specified class, we are going to be dwelling on do and have. We are going to be dwelling on what? On do and have. Good. Now, having said do and have are primary auxiliary verbs used to give information about a person or thing. Now, let's quickly look into the forms of do and have. How can we use do and have in sentences? What are their forms? What are their past forms? Their present forms? Let's look into that. Now, starting with do. the forms of do. What are the forms of do? Do are in different forms. Do are in what? Different forms. Now, the first form of do is do itself. Is what? Is do itself. Now, the first one says do, which is the word we are dwelling on. Now, do, which is the first one under the forms, says do is the base, what? The base form or the present simple tense. It is the base form or what? The present simple tense. The second one says did. Did is the past simple tense. Did is the what? Past simple tense. The third one says does. Does is the third person singular present tense. Does is the third person singular present tense. All of these are what we're going to be doing during the course of this lesson. We're going to be giving examples of each of these forms, using them to form sentence. Is that taken out? Good. Now, the fourth one says doing. Doing is what? Is the present participle. Doing is the what? Present participle. Now, the last but not the least is done under the forms of do. The last but not the least under the forms of do is what? Is done. And done is what? Is past participle. Done is what? Past participle. Now, let's now look into examples of each of these forms. How each of these forms are being used. Let's now take them one after the other. Good. Now, the first one is do, which is the word we are dwelling on, really. Now, the first one is what? Is do. Do is the base form, as I've said earlier on. Do is what? Is the base form or the simple present tense. Do is the what? Is the base form or the simple present tense. Examples. Before we go into these examples, I want you to know something, that when you're forming sentence, do not forget that sentence could be in form of active question, which is interrogative. When you hear the word interrogative, the first thing that should come to your mind is questions. Is that not so? So when you are asking somebody a question, you are actually interrogating the person. Is that taken out? So all of these forms, that is, these words, like all these forms like do, does, they all can make different sentences. And we have this type of sentence to be in forms. Now, we have interrogative sentence, we have positive sentence, we have negative sentence likewise. Is that taken out? Good. Now, the first one is do, which is the base form or the simple present tense. Now, under do, we have examples like the first one says, do you want to go with me? Again, do you want to go with me? That is a question, isn't it? That is a question. Do you want to go with me? And the question is what? Is what we know as interrogative sentence. That's why you are seeing something like interrogative in front of it. You can see what is in front of it, interrogative. It means it is, the question is what the sentence is asking a question. Say, do you want to go with me? Good. Now, the second one says, volunteers do a lot of work around the town. Positive. It said, volunteers do a lot of work around the town. Volunteers do a lot of work around the town. Volunteers do a lot of work around the town. The third one says, I do not want to go with you. Look at the second questions there, the second sentence there. It says, volunteers do a lot of work around the town. That is a positive sentence. Is that also? That is a positive sentence. Now, last but not least, is saying, I do not want to go with him. I do not want to go with him. I do not want to go with what? With him. What does that imply? Can somebody tell me what that implies? It implies a negative sentence. And why is it a negative sentence? Because it's having this word, not. Any sentence you see the word not, whether do not, did not, does not, is the sentence is what is a negative sentence. So that not makes this sentence a negative sentence. Is that taken out? So because we have not in this sentence, it implies that this sentence is a negative sentence. So I do not want to go with you. I do not want to go with you. Is that taken? Good. Now, let's go to the second form, which is did. Don't forget that did is past simple tense, isn't it? Did is what? Is a past simple tense. Examples now. Did he attend the lesson? Did he attend the lesson? Is a question. Did he attend the lesson? Don't forget that the lesson have been concluded already. So it is now in the past. The lesson was done in what? In the past. Now, the question now comes up that did he attend the lesson? That's the question. Did he attend the lesson? Probably the person is asking someone who just left the lesson, like probably the person came towards the end of the lesson or after they finished the lesson and met one or two people, asking them, did he attend the lesson? That is, did Bolu attend the lesson? Did Toby attend the lesson? Probably the Toby or Bolu is the person's son or daughter. Now, the man is not asking, did he attend the lesson? That is interrogative, asking question, interrogating the people he met there. Is that also good? That is an interrogative what? Sentence. Now, the second one says, Mr. Moses did a great job on his resumption to work. Mr. Moses did a great job on his resumption to work. That is positive. That is what? Positive. That is a positive sentence. Mr. Moses did a great job on his resumption to work. There's nothing like not there. So it has no negative word there. So which means the sentence is a what? Is a positive sentence. The question, the sentence is what? Is a positive what? Sentence. And don't forget that this happened in the past. That is why we have did. Did is what? Is a past simple tense. Mr. Moses did a great job on his resumption to work. Meaning that Mr. Moses did what? A great job. He has done the job already. The job have been concluded. Is that also? That is why we are saying Mr. Moses did a great job on his resumption to work. Now, the third one says, your friend did not get the email. Your friend did not get the email. Do not forget likewise that this sentence is a past tense. Is in this past simple tense. Is that taken? But one thing about the sentence is that the sentence is having the word not. Isn't it? The sentence is having what? The word not. And which makes this sentence to be what? To be negative. Your friends did not get the email. That is negative. It is a negative sentence. It is a negative sentence. So if you come across a question in your exam asking you to give examples of did, you give your examples. The examples could be interrogative, they could be positive, they could be negative. Is that taken out? If you're asked or given a question or a sentence and you are asked to pick which of them is negative. Now, you know when you see not. Whenever you see not in a sentence, you should know that sentence is what? Is a negative sentence. So you should know when you are having a negative sentence, a positive sentence, and an interrogative what? Sentence. Is that taken? Good. Now, let's move to the third form of what? Of do. Do not forget that we are still under do. These are the forms of do. Now, the third form of do is what? Is does. 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 Does in the third person singular present tense. Third person singular present tense. Examples. Now, it is referring to somebody that is not present. It could be, the person might not be present, the person might even be around, but it is not that person that you are referring to. That is when does comes in. Does, look at the first example. The first example says, does he know what he is talking about? Does he know what he is talking about? That is a question. Does he know what he is talking about? Now, who is the he there? Does he know? Does he know? That means the he The person you're talking to is not the E. Don't forget that you are the first person. The person you're talking to is the second person. Why this E is what is the third person? Is that taken out? The person is not, it is not this E you are referring to, that you are talking to at the moment. The person is not the one you are talking to, but you are actually referring to the third person, which is why you are using what? E. Does E know what he is talking about? Does he know what he is talking about? Let's assume yourself as someone now. You walk up to your brother. Probably you want to talk about your sister, or you want to talk about your brother, and you walk up to your sister and tell your sister, Linda, does he know what he's talking about? That is, probably your brother said something that you don't like or that is not right. And you walk up to your sister and ask your sister, Linda, does he know what he's talking about? That means the Linda, you are the first person. Linda is what is the second person. Why he is your brother, is what is the third person. Is that taken out? So does he know what he's talking about? Another thing about this sentence is that it is an interrogative sentence. The sentence is asking a question, isn't it? Does he know what he's talking about? Now, look at the second one. The second example says, he does his homework on time. He does his homework on time. You are still referring to that third person singular, isn't it? The person is not present with you, but you are referring to him, isn't it? So you are referring to the person by saying he does his homework on time. That is, he does his homework on time. He's always doing his homework whenever he's being given any work to do, isn't it? So now, what this is talking about is that whenever you see the word does, the first thing that should come to your mind is that does refer to what? To the third person singular. Does refers to what? To the third person singular. So that's why we're having examples like he does his own work on time. He does his own work on time. Probably you are telling someone that your brother does his own work on time. So the person you are talking to is the second person. You are the first person. So the third person is the one you are referring to, who you are telling that, who you are talking about, saying he does his own work on time. And one thing about this sentence also is that the sentence we are having here is a positive sentence. Is a what? Is a positive sentence. Why? Because it does not have the word not. Now look at the third sentence here. We are having he does not know what he is talking about. He does not know what he is talking about. Probably you are telling your sister again, Linda, Larry does not know what he is talking about. Larry is the third person singular. Larry is the third person singular. Linda is the second person, while you are the first person. So now you walk up to Linda to tell Linda, he does not know what he is talking about. Not make that sentence to be negative. Look at the sentence very well. It has what? Not. It has the word not. Not makes that sentence to be what? To be a negative sentence. It does not. It does not. Just take note of that. Anytime you have the word not in the sentence, that sentence becomes what? A negative sentence. Is that understood? Good. Now, let's move to the fourth form of do. Now, the fourth form of do is doing. The fourth form of do is what? Is doing. Do not forget that all these are still under the form do, are still under the auxiliary verb do. Is that taken out? They are still under the primary auxiliary verb do. Now, the fourth one is saying doing, which is present participle. Is that taken out? Good. Now, let's look at the examples under doing. The first one says, are you doing the best you can? Are you doing the best you can? Do not forget that doing, I told you, is the present what? Participle. That is the present tense. Now, he's saying, are you doing the best you can? That means the person is asking a question. Asking you a question. Now, I'm asking you now. I'm putting it to you. Are you doing the best you can? Concerning these upcoming exams, are you doing the best you can? Do not forget that your evaluation is right by the corner. Your exams, your tests are right by the corner. So now I'm putting the question to you now. Are you doing the best you can? That is interrogative in nature, isn't it? That is an interrogative sentence. That is, are you doing the best you can? Are you doing the best you can? If not, you better start doing that. You better what? Start doing that. So the question is to you now. Are you doing the best you can? Now, the second one says, I am doing the best I can. This reply is only for those of you who are preparing for the exam. So it is not meant for those of you that have been playing all this while. If you know you have been studying your note, then you can tell me, I am doing the best I can. I am doing the best I can. I am doing the best I can. Is that taken out? That is a positive sentence. That is a positive sentence. The third one says, you are not doing the best you can. Now, this is to those who have been playing around. This is to those who have been deceiving themselves. You are not doing the best you can. You are not doing the best you can. Do not forget that you are having the word not. Isn't it? You are having the word what? Not. And that not makes this sentence to be what? To be a negative sentence. Makes this to be what? A negative sentence. Is that understood? Good. Now, let's move into another form of do. Another form of do is done. Another form of do is what? Is done. Now, let's look at the examples under done, which is past participle. Now, the first example says, have you done anything today? That's the question in the past. Now, nobody's asking you, have you done anything today? Probably the day is actually approaching its end. Now, the question is now coming to you now. Maybe it was around 5 in the evening or 7 in the night, and it does not look as if you have been doing anything throughout the day. Now, the person comes up to you, your dad comes up to you and tells you, Bola, Bolu, have you done anything today? That is a question. Have you done anything today? That is a question to you. Now, that is interrogative in nature, isn't it? That is interrogative in nature. That is, it is an interrogative sentence. Have you done anything today? Have you done anything today? Now, the second one says, he has done a lot today. That is a very positive reply, a positive statement. He said, he has done a lot today. I'm saying it categorically that you have done a lot today. Isn't it? That means you have been reading, you have been studying hard for the coming exams. So you have done a lot today. You've helped your mom in education, you've helped your dad in washing his car, you've helped in going to the market to get some foodstuffs, and you'll be doing one thing or the other. That means you have done a lot that day. That is a positive statement. He has done a lot today. That is in the past. Don't forget that we are dealing with done now. Done is past participle. Now it is in the past already. He has done a lot. That is, you have done a lot in the past. You have done a lot today. Is that taken? Now, the last example under that is he has not done anything today. He has not done anything today. That is for the lazy ones. The lazy ones are mixed people. And I know we don't have any lazy students or pupils in our midst. Yes, I know you're all good pupils. So now, this one goes to those of you who are very, very lazy, who fail to help your mom with education, who fail to help your dad in cleaning his car. So now, this is to you. He has not done anything today. If I'm asked a question, have Bolu done anything today? What I will boldly say is that he has not what? He has not done anything today, because actually you have not done anything. You've not done anything. So he has not done anything today. That is a negative statement. It is having the word what? Not. He has not done anything today. Is that taken? Is that understood? Good. Now, these are the forms of what? Of do. These are the forms of what? Of do. Now, let's now move to the second one, which is have. Have. The forms of have. Now, what are the forms of have? Have there is own form too. The forms include number one, have itself, which is the base form. Now, the second one is as. As is for third person singular, present tense. That is for third person singular. As is for third person singular. Now, the third one says having. Having is present participle. Having is what? Present participle. Now, the last but not the least is had. Had is past tense or past participle. That is, had serves as both past tense, and what? And past participle. Now, let's now look into examples of each of these forms. Now, the first one is have, which is the base form. Examples of have is what? Have you been to Jamaica? That's the question. Have you been to Jamaica? Have you been to Jamaica? I'm asking you now categorically. Have you been to Jamaica? No. Most of you have not been to Jamaica before, right? Yes. Now, the question is, have you been to Jamaica? That is a question, an interrogative statement. Do not forget, I told you, whenever you are asking a question, is interrogative in nature. So interrogation means what? Questioning. So if I'm interrogating you, I'm questioning you. So now, have you been to Jamaica? That is an interrogative word statement. Now the second one says, I have been to Jamaica. I have been to Jamaica. That is a what? That is a positive statement. I have been to Jamaica. That is a what? A positive statement. The third one is, I have not been to Jamaica. I have not been to what? To Jamaica. That is a negative statement. Having the word what? Not. Having what? Not. Having what? Not. I have not been to Jamaica. I have not been to what? To Jamaica. Now, let's now move to the second form, which is as. As. As, we say, is the third person singular present tense. The third person singular present tense. Now, the examples under as is what? What has she been doing? What has she been doing? Do not forget that you are asking somebody. The person you are asking that question is the second person. You are the first person. The second person you are asking that question, or the person you are interrogating. Don't forget I told you that when you are asking somebody a question, you are interrogating the person. So the person you are interrogating is the second person. Why the person you want to ask about? The person you want to ask about is what is the third person singular. So when I come to you and say, what has she been doing? I'm asking about somebody who is not with me. I'm not asking you the question. I'm asking you the question about somebody else. I'm not asking you a question about yourself. I'm asking you a question about somebody else. That is, what has she been doing? If I come to you and tell you, Toby, what has Lanre been doing? John, what has David been doing? That is a question for what? For a third person singular. Now, that is interrogative in nature. That is a question. So it is an interrogative what? Sentence. Now the second one says, she has been dancing for the past 1 hour. That's the reply you gave to me. She has been dancing. That is, you're telling me that the third person singular, that person we are referring to, has been what? Has been what? Dancing. Don't forget that we are only asking questions from each other. I'm asking you a question about somebody that is not with us, isn't it? Now you are now giving me a reply. I asked you a question. I said, what has she been doing? Now your reply to me now is that she has been dancing for the past 1 hour. She has been dancing for the past 1 hour. That's what she has been doing. Good. Now the third one, which is the negative statement, says she has not been herself. She has not been herself. She has not been herself. Now you're telling me about that person, that same person, that she has not been herself. Probably she's not the type that dance. She does not dance. Maybe she's always studying. She's always hoping to do one thing or the other. But all of a sudden she started dancing. She has been dancing for the past 1 hour. So now, after telling me that she has been dancing for the past 1 hour, which is a positive statement, now you now went further to tell me that she has not been herself. That is a negative statement. That is, she has not been herself. So the not there is making the statement what? To be a negative sentence. It's making the sentence to be what? To be a negative sentence. Is that taken? Good. Now let's move to the third form of what? Of have. The third form of have is having. Having, that's present participle. Now the examples under having is, the first one is saying, is it having his bet? Is it having his bet? Now, if you're asking me if I'm having my bath, it's a question, isn't it? Now that is interrogative in nature, and it's something that is probably happening currently. So that's why I say, is he having his bath? Is he having his bath? Now, that's the first one, which is interrogative. The second one says, He is having his birth. He is having his what? His birth. Now, the birth you are talking about here is that he is currently having his what? His birth. Now, that is positive in nature and it is currently happening. It is present, isn't it? It is what? It is currently happening in the present because he is currently having his what? His birth. Now, the third one says he is not having his birth. He is not having his what? His birth. Now, that is a negative statement, a negative word sentence because what? It carries the word not. He is not having his birth. It carries the word not, which is a word, a negative sentence. He is not having his birth. Good. Now let's move to the fourth form of what? Of have. The fourth form of have is what? Is add. Is what? Is add. Is add. And add, as we all know, is past tense. Add. When you hear somebody say add, is what? Is in past tense. Past tense or past participle. Now, examples of add is what? The first one says, what did he say? What did you say you just had? What did you say you just had? I'm asking you a question. What did you say you just had? Probably you said something I didn't hear. You say you did something I didn't hear. So I just asked you. I'm asking you, what did you say you just had? Probably you said you had something and I couldn't get what you said. So I'm asking you now, what did you say you had? That is interrogative. Look for it. That is what? Interrogative. That is a question. It is an interrogative what? Sentence. The second one is saying, I had a sweet dream. Initially, that was what you said, but I didn't hear you. That was what you said initially, but I didn't hear you. So now you are now putting it to me because I've asked you a question already. I said, what did you say you had? Now you are not putting it to me. Answering my question, saying, I had a sweet dream. I had what? A sweet dream. Don't forget that is a positive statement. That is a positive sentence. I had a sweet dream. Don't forget that dream is in the past. Is in the what? In the past. So that's why you're using the word had. Had is for past tense. I had a sweet dream. Now, the third one is saying, I had not eaten. I had not eaten at the restaurant before today. I had not eaten at the restaurant today. That is an example of a negative statement. I had not eaten at the restaurant before today. That is, probably we went to a restaurant to eat. But now I'm telling you that before today, I had not eaten at the restaurant before today. I had not eaten at the restaurant before today. That's telling me that I have not been there before that very day. I have never been there before that very day. So I'm telling you now that I had not eaten at the restaurant before today. Is that taken out? The not there is making the sentence to what? To be a negative sentence. To be a what? To be a negative sentence. I hope that with all what we've been discussing during the course of our lesson, you'll be able to see the different forms of do and have, and how to use these different forms in forming sentences. Is that also? Now, let's look at the summary. Summary is that do and have are used to give information about a person or thing. About a person or thing. Just like we have been doing during the course of this lesson. He's saying he does not have a book. He has gone to work. These are information about somebody. Somebody who is going to work. He has gone to work. Somebody is going to work. You are giving information about the person. Is that taken out? Good. Now, let's look at the evaluation. The evaluation is to ascertain whether you all understood what we've been discussing. Now, the first one says, underline the primary auxiliary verb in the sentences. Underline the primary auxiliary verb in the sentences. Now, what are the sentences given to you to underline the primary auxiliary verb? The first sentence is what? We have written all our outstanding social studies notes. We have written all our outstanding social studies notes. We have written all our outstanding social studies notes. Now, what is the primary auxiliary verb in this sentence? What is the primary auxiliary verb in this sentence? You underline it. Tell me what the primary auxiliary verb in this sentence is. It's very, very simple. I've seen it already. The second sentence is, Mr. James had a car before. Mr. James had a car before. You are going to underline the primary auxiliary verb in this sentence likewise. Mr. James had a car before. Good. Now, the second question now says, number 2, use the primary auxiliary verbs to form 5 sentences each. Use the primary auxiliary verbs to form 5 sentences each. To form 5 sentences each. Now, you use the primary auxiliary verbs, the ones we've discussed during the course of our lesson, to what? To form 5 sentences each. Is that taken? Is that understood? Good. Don't forget that we have done do and we've done have. So you give 5 examples of what? You give sentence on do, 5 sentences on do, and 5 sentences on what? On have. The last but not the least, state present and past form of the auxiliary verbs. State present and past form of the auxiliary verbs we have. What are the auxiliary verbs we've mentioned today? We've mentioned have and what? And do. So you state the present form of what? Of have. We've done that. And you say the past form of have. You likewise say the present form of do and the past form of what? Of do. Is that understood? Is that understood? I hope you've been able to understand the primary auxiliary verb we have, which is have and do. Don't forget I told you earlier on that we also have be to be part of our primary auxiliary verb. But of importance to us for the course of this discussion, we are only dwelling on what? On have and do. Now I believe you can now all form sentence on what? On do and have. Now you should be able to know the different forms of what? Of do and have, and how they can be used in the various sentences. Good. Now, before we go, I would like to remind us of something. Please always endeavor to what? To wash your hands regularly with soap and running water for 20 seconds. Please do this and keep your life safe and healthy. Is that taken out? Please do this. It is very, very important. Do that. God bless you all. Till we meet again, I remain Mr. Olapade Olalekan Moses. Thank you.